this institution. Early enough, they buy big property of land, probably over 50 years ago. And they started investing in that. And now they have universities that a lot of students are flocking in from even other denominations for training. Then they come out teaching something else. As I mentioned in the morning, for example, the church that I mentioned in the morning that say that Baptists were cults, they take their students to some of these institutions, and now they have women pastors in their churches. They have bishops and hierarchy archbishop, something that is not Baptistic, at all. So again, you realize some of those are kind of institutions you get worried as a missionary. Do I take my student there? Or do we just establish our own institution that we can help our students so that in future we can have really good churches that reflect what you, while sending churches and supporting churches, would love to see. Because if we believe the same, you want to see the same if you come to Kenya. The way Pastor trusts me to give me his pulpit, I trust him. When he comes, I say, Pastor, take the pulpit. This is your church. Because we know, I believe in what you believe, and we share the same vision, the same conviction, and that kind of thing. But, there are people you can't allow them to preach in your church, and I know for sure even you too, you have the same because of convictions. So we have problem with the training of pastors, and that's one of the things that we pray that God would help us for sure. There was another question somewhere. Yes, please. Yeah, Kenyans are very open people. What you need to understand is they'll ask you a lot of questions. And they might not say, I believe now, but if you understand them, that challenge will help them to find out, to visit, to ask you again to come again in truth. They will even seek you and want to talk again. And so those kinds of things are there. But of course, there's challenges that you'll face is the issue of prosperity gospel, the issues of false teachers, hopes that have been built in lives of people that are not truthful, they are not biblical at all. And so you'll be dealing with a lot of those in the lives of people. Again, you have to be ready to deal and demystify some of those ideologies that people have built in their lives about, their hope, their trust, even trusting governments more than God, or politicians, or, all kinds of things, or believing in a person, a preacher, and they believe in that particular preacher on the radio or a TV, and they send even their money to that than their tithe at the church. And so they might ask you questions about giving and say, hey, is it wrong to give to them? Do I have to give to my pastor? I'm on a radio program, and I can tell you many people who called wanting to give money. And I ask them, where do you go to church? Do you give in your church? Don't give to me. Go give to your pastor. Your pastor needs it more than I. Because if you're supporting a ministry on a radio and you're not supporting your pastor, you continue being critiquing your pastor, and you're not building that pastor at all. And that is not the right thing to do. You must demonstrate your faithfulness to your church and your pastor, but not to befriend a radio preacher at the fall of your pastor's ministry. I don't think that is the best thing. And I don't want, as a preacher, to be between the members of another church and almost robbing them in some way. But I communicate that with understanding, even on the radio program, that if you are not faithful to your church, please, you shouldn't give even to the radio programs. It's not the right thing. So it's very important to be able to communicate that with people. And there are many questions, people ask in different ways. Theological issues, the truth in a particular church, some teachings, maybe baptism because they were baptized when they were young. Others want to be married, they divorce. Some others are